Perhaps you think you pay the daily tax in your life already. Maybe it's the long commute through busy traffic, the job that drags on day in and day out, or the dinner that you don't feel like cooking after a day of yard work. The truth is that becoming some version of this man is a fate that too many of us succumb to.
Welcome to the show. Thank you for taking part in this immersive listening experience. A meaningful existence is a moving target that, no matter how close, will always be out of reach. We hope this message finds you with an outstretched hand. As we attempt to uncover complex truths, remember, life's toughest questions can be answered if we all just focus on one thing: being good people.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Good People episode 54. In today's episode, I will be joined by me. This week's episode is a new format where I will be reading an essay that I wrote. And as always, with any new style of content, please feel free to leave us feedback, both in the YouTube comments and if you're listening on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, there is a section to submit feedback as well. We would really appreciate it. If you guys are watching on YouTube, please like, comment, and subscribe, and turn on our notifications so you don't miss our weekly uploads. Without further ado, enjoy. The Parable of the Hammer. A man rises from his bed every morning and upon opening his bedroom door is met by a carpenter. In order to go on with his day and leave the bedroom, he must take one hammer blow to the top of his head. On the first day, the man takes the blow without hesitation. All day he struggles with a headache as a large bump builds on the top of his head. That will not do, he thinks. On the second day, the man, wiser than the day before, opens his bedroom door wearing a hard hat. The hard hat takes the brunt of the hammer blow, but still shaken, the man gets on his way. On the third day, the man wears the same hard hat, and upon taking the blow, the helmet cracks into two pieces, stunning the man, but paying his dues nonetheless. Feeling even more discouraged, the man dedicates the entire day to finding a solution. He cannot afford to buy so many hard hats, and there's simply no way he can convince the carpenter to lessen the blows. The man goes to sleep that night content. He knows how to fix his problem permanently. On the fourth day, the man rises, but does not stir in his bed. He lays there comfortable and warm. The man decides that instead of taking the hammer blow, he'll lay in the comfort of his bed. Perhaps he'll return to the world on occasion, but why trouble himself with the cruelty of the carpenter? Every morning, the carpenter hears the man rise. Little sounds stir behind the bedroom door as the man seeps slowly into the confines of his own quarters. And every morning, as time ticks on, the carpenter smiles to himself. For the man thinks himself more clever than the carpenter by choosing not to face him. But the carpenter knows the truth. The pain of the hammer is nothing compared to the ignorance of those that leave the world unseen. Cute short stories and parables like this are silly. They are made up theoretical conditions that would never arise and only give us some overrated cliche take on the trials of what it means to live the human life. What's more is that in this silly hypothetical story, there is no consideration to the size of the hammer, the strength of the carpenter, whether or not he or she hits the man in the same spot on the head each day, why the hell the man doesn't take the hammer from the carpenter and bludgeon he or she to death, and any other more favorable outcome than bending at the knee and being struck with a blunt object before morning coffee. All of that is true. But let's look past that for a moment. I think all of us would like to think that we would be different than the man, that we'd confront the challenge, take the blow, and go on with the toil of our already tumultuous existence. Perhaps you think you pay the daily tax in your life already. Maybe it's the long commute through busy traffic, the incessant honking that rings in your head before the sun comes up, the job that drags on day in and day out, the horrible unpaid bills that hang over your head, or the dinner that you don't feel like cooking after a day of yard work. Whatever it is, I'm certain that we all have some proverbial hammer that hangs over us. You can probably imagine your specific troubles right now as you listen to this. The truth is that becoming some version of this man is a fate that too many of us succumb to. The things that brutalize us and haunt us quickly force their way into our habits in life and mind. But make no mistake, the white flag is never raised. See, surrender is a coward's way out. Think back to the man waking in his warm and comfortable bed. He is likely wearing his silk pajamas, and his head rests on his silk pillowcase, and fuzzy slippers greet his toes after he stands from his morning stretch. His room is big enough. It's just him, after all. He has a desk and a window and a closet and a bathroom. Perhaps a TV or even a computer for the latest entertainment. And after his head heals, I'm sure he could venture out on the rare occasion, take the carpenter's shot, and slip back to the cozy room with a microwave so he can heat Hot Pockets or some other addictive processed sustenance. It's not so bad, the man probably thinks to himself. And it's not bad. Not bad at all. Why should we blame the man in the silly hypothetical parable? Why choose the painful, incessant swelling required of leaving the room when, by only suffering occasionally, he can curate a pleasurable existence in the comfort of his own 400 square feet? Would we act any differently? This is my point. We wouldn't, and we don't. We start something new, a weight loss program, a new diet with the latest and most advanced calorie tracker on the market. We commit to writing every morning before work. We sit down and speak to an accountant about forming that LLC we've always talked about. We buy 3 books that we've been thinking about reading for months. But we arrive at the gym early on day 1, and every day we show up later and later until we don't have time to work out. We track our calories for a few days, then after making progress, grab a few handfuls of chips and think, it won't hurt. We write for a couple of weeks, and after hitting a bout of writer's block, take a break to get remotivated and find our muse. We start the LLC, but never got to forming that business account at the local credit union. The books we bought sit idly on the bedside table to collect dust, not creases as we hoped. We are all guilty of this, each and every one of us. The underachievers, the overachievers, the jocks, and the rejects. We replay this same story over and over and over in a myriad of iterations. You may have even experienced this so many times before that you can no longer trust your word to yourself. I'll start tomorrow, you exclaim. Yeah, right. I'll believe it when I see it, says your spouse or your mother and father or your coworkers or your friends. We repeat this cycle so much and so often that even the ones that believe in us more than we believe in ourselves start to falter. If this continues, we eventually betray our own souls. The further we go on, the deeper we dig, the harder it will be to claw and drag our way out from our own damnation. But one fact remains. The door to the room will always be unlocked. And though the carpenter will always be there, the entire world waits for you beyond his toll. Another consideration is recognizing what the hammer actually is. Our troubles and daily stressors and projects half finished are just a facade. They are the hideous head that scares us into eventual submission. The body of the beast that can only be seen with careful inspection is truth. The kind of truth with a capital T. The horrible thing that we must face every single day to truly venture out into the wide open is truth. And it can be hideous. The world can be wicked. We probably aren't as capable as we think we are. We'll likely lose far more often than we'll win. The cute guy or girl you exchange glances with across the lecture hall might reject you. At times, you may be pinching pennies just to scrape by. Earth's environments and ecosystems may be struggling by our own volition. Worldwide political systems are unjust and varied and complex beyond our capacity to understand them. But to avoid these things is hell, true hell. Every time you decide to leave the door shut, you are choosing to cower in the confines of the quarters that you designed, just for you. You may not feel the heat or smell the smoke, but the room is surely burning. It ensures you will rot and decay and to die a death long before you are ash or dirt. The life that the man within our little story chooses makes him among the most dangerous of people. Someone who is absolutely, positively, without question, sure of themselves. But truth is more. It's much more. It's also beautiful. It says that you can learn and build skills in ways you never thought yourself capable. You can take your losses, review your mistakes, and come back to put a tally in the win column. The same guy or girl might give you a chance to build a family and life you didn't even know you wanted. You might find an opportunity for the financial success and security you've always dreamed of. The love and good fortune you have will inspire others to do the same, and a community of love and goodness may blossom from it. I think we would all agree that the latter is a much preferred fate than the former. Know that that fate is within your own hands. The same hands that we can use to shield our eyes from the burning room can also reach out and open the door. No matter what you think, this isn't a tale of despair. I say these things because the highest levels of virtue are found only between two opposing titanic forces. In order for there to be courage, anger must be met with hope. To have justice, there must be wrongdoing and confrontation. In order to show restraint, there must be both temptation and promise. Wisdom is only found through inadequacy and hard work. It won't be easy. Many mornings will be spent eyeing the slippers that taunt you from the bedside, but it can be done. You have it within you to rise, stand on your own 2 feet, open the door with a smile and an outstretched hand and say, "Carpenter, I know what must be done." At risk of sounding cliche, pain will find you wherever you go. You may think you are comfortable if you hide from the real world, but it is temporary. Disquiet and discontent will seep in through the walls and the doors and the windows, and eventually your body and mind and soul. You will sit fidgeting in your office chair. You'll toss and turn in bed at night. You'll flip through an endless cycle of the same channels. You'll take shower after shower, scrubbing your skin until there's none left. Sounds crazy, right? Well, basically, that's us. And we are letting this happen. It is completely and totally the end result of our chosen ignorance and blindness. Yes, the truth that lies beyond is painful. I won't pretend it's not. It's hard, grungy, rigorous, tedious work. But it's work that's worth it. It's pain with a purpose. Hardship for happiness, joy, peace, whatever you want to call the thing we're all after. The trade-off is worth it because it's real. Really real. You may not be able to see it or hear it or taste it or smell it or touch it, but you can feel it. You know if it's there. You know deep down whether or not you're facing the truth or pushing it to the wayside, leaving it for another day or another person or another generation. Don't wait any longer. Face the carpenter, face the hammer, face the truth. Keep opening the door. Thank you guys so much for listening to this week's episode of Good People. Before you head out, make sure you leave us feedback either in the YouTube comments or on the polls on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. If you guys are watching on YouTube, please like, comment, and subscribe. Turn on notifications so you don't miss our weekly uploads. And if while you were listening, you found this episode useful or helpful, please share it with someone you love, perhaps your grandma. We'll see you next time.